Everyone watching the Testaments walked away from episode 3 talking about the same heartbreaking moment. Daisy discovers that the people she believed were her parents have been murdered, her entire life is exposed as a lie, and June Osborne suddenly appears to tell her that everything she thought she knew about herself is wrong. On the surface, it feels like the episode is simply revealing Daisy's backstory. But if you look closely, that's not what the writers are actually doing. Hidden throughout the episode are clues that completely change the way we should look at Daisy, Mayday, and even Gilead itself. The biggest revelation isn't that Daisy was born in Gilead. It's that multiple people have been risking their lives for years to protect her, and episode 3 finally begins to explain why. Every major scene, from the bus attack and Commander Judd's strange interest in Daisy to June's emotional confession and the map secretly handed to Garth, points toward one conclusion. Daisy isn't just another refugee caught between two worlds. She's the person both Gilead and Mayday have been preparing for, whether she realized it or not. Once you connect all of those clues together, episode 3 stops feeling like a tragic origin story and starts looking like the moment the real battle for Gilead quietly begins. Before we uncover everything hidden inside this episode, if you enjoy deep theories, ending explained videos, and breakdowns that go beyond the obvious, make sure you're subscribed. Every script on this channel is researched from scratch and written by hand to uncover the details that are easy to miss on a first watch. If that sounds like your kind of content, subscribing helps the channel continue making these long-form breakdowns and reach more fans of The Handmaid's Tale and the Testaments. And with that said, here's your spoiler warning. We'll be discussing major events from episode 3 and connecting them to the larger story, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, now is your chance to pause and come back later. The episode opens in one of the most peaceful locations we've seen inside Gilead. Daisy and the other Pearls collect honey while carrying out what appears to be another routine assignment. It's a surprisingly calm sequence, especially considering how much chaos follows. But that calmness isn't accidental. Honey has always carried symbolic meaning in literature. It represents patience, community, and the rewards that come from countless individuals working toward the same goal. Bees survive because every member of the hive understands their purpose. Remove that cooperation, and the entire colony collapses. The writers place Daisy inside this environment for a reason. Unlike the girls around her, Daisy doesn't truly belong in this world. She's participating in Gilead's system, but she isn't emotionally connected to it. Even before the episode reveals her memories, there's a subtle feeling that she's observing everything from the outside rather than accepting it as normal. Looking back, that opening scene quietly establishes the central conflict of the episode. Daisy has entered the hive, but she was never meant to stay inside it. The first flashback immediately reinforces that idea. Instead of showing Daisy growing up in Gilead, the series takes us back to Toronto, where she enjoys an ordinary teenage life filled with arguments about boyfriends, awkward conversations with her parents, and afternoons spent with Justin at the skate park. At first glance, these scenes feel almost disconnected from the darker world of Gilead. They're lighter, warmer, and filled with the kind of freedom that barely exists across the border. But that contrast is exactly the point. The writers want viewers to understand everything Daisy is about to lose. Her life isn't extraordinary, that's what makes it so important. She worries about school, relationships, and spending the night with her boyfriend because those are the problems teenagers are supposed to have. By allowing us to experience that normality, the episode makes the violence that follows far more devastating. Then everything changes in a matter of seconds. Daisy walks into her parents' thrift shop expecting another ordinary afternoon, only to find police officers surrounding the building. Inside, she discovers that Neil and Melanie have been murdered. The image is shocking, but hidden inside the tragedy is one of the episode's biggest clues. Gilead didn't simply eliminate 2 members of Mayday. It erased the people responsible for protecting Daisy. That distinction matters because it tells us the mission wasn't over. If Daisy had no further importance, there would have been no reason to hunt her adoptive family. The show revealed something much bigger than a political assassination. It revealed that someone inside Gilead still considered Daisy valuable enough to justify sending agents into Canada. That realization completely changes the way we understand Mayday. Earlier in the episode, the attack on the Plum bus looks like another attempt to disrupt Gilead's operations. But Garth later confirms that it wasn't an ordinary ambush. It was a retrieval mission. That single line quietly reframes everything. Mayday isn't simply fighting against Gilead anymore. It's carrying out highly targeted operations with specific objectives. They aren't attacking at random. They're trying to recover people before Gilead can fully control them. Suddenly, Daisy's presence among the pearls becomes far more significant. She's no longer just undercover. She's part of a much larger plan that has likely been unfolding for years. The answer has been hiding in plain sight through June's arrival. One of the episode's most surprising moments comes when June appears inside the hospital and stops Daisy from drinking the tea left behind by the supposed social worker. It's a tense scene, but it quietly reveals just how deeply Gilead's influence extends beyond its own borders. The man pretending to help Daisy isn't a government official at all. He's a Gilead operative waiting for the perfect opportunity to eliminate her before Mayday can reach her. That detail changes everything because it confirms Gilead isn't reacting to events, it's anticipating them. Agents are already in place, contingency plans already exist. Daisy's life has been monitored long before she ever suspected there was anything unusual about her childhood. June's explanation also carries much more emotional weight than it first appears. She tells Daisy that Neil and Melanie were her parents in every way that matters. It's a simple sentence, but it captures one of the central themes running through both The Handmaid's Tale and the Testaments. Family isn't defined by biology alone. Throughout Margaret Atwood's world, countless children have been separated from their birth parents, adopted by strangers, or stolen by governments claiming to know what's best for them. Love, not blood, becomes the true measure of parenthood. That's why June never tries to erase Neil's and Melanie's place in Daisy's life. Instead, she honors them. She makes it clear that adopting Daisy wasn't an act of convenience. It was an act of extraordinary courage. But the biggest revelation comes when June finally tells Daisy the truth about where she was born. Until this moment, Daisy has believed she's simply another Canadian teenager caught in the aftermath of political violence. Instead, she learns that Gilead has been part of her story since the very beginning. She wasn't born outside its borders. She escaped them. Suddenly, everything makes sense. The assassination of her parents, the spies, the retrieval attempts, the years of secrecy. Daisy hasn't stumbled into history. She's been living inside it her entire life without ever knowing it. That revelation doesn't just change Daisy's understanding of herself, it changes ours. Because if Mayday has spent years protecting one young woman with this level of commitment, the obvious question becomes, what makes Daisy so important? That question becomes even more interesting once the story returns to Gilead, because almost every interaction Daisy has after the bus attack suggests people are beginning to notice her in ways she doesn't fully understand. The attack itself is one of the biggest clues in the episode. On the surface, it looks like another violent confrontation between Mayday and Gilead, but the show quietly reveals it was never meant to be a massacre. Garth later confirms that it was a retrieval mission, which completely changes the meaning of the scene. Mayday wasn't trying to destroy the bus or kill the girls. They were trying to reach someone before Gilead could move them somewhere else. That explains why Daisy immediately becomes concerned about the innocent girls caught in the crossfire. She isn't motivated by ideology alone. She understands that these girls are victims of the same system, even if they don't realize it yet. This explains why Daisy continues helping Mayday, while insisting that no harm comes to the Plums. She already sees the humanity in people Gilead only sees as assets. The biggest clue arrives during the visit to Commander Judd's house. At first, the gathering appears to be nothing more than another display of Gilead's rigid social order. Penny proudly shows the girls her home, speaks about another pregnancy after multiple heartbreaking losses, and presents the image of the perfect Gilead family. But that illusion begins to crack the moment Commander Judd walks into the room. Instead of addressing the group equally, his attention settles almost immediately on Daisy. His question sounds harmless enough. Why did you come to Gilead? Yet the writers frame the exchange in a way that feels deeply unsettling. Judd isn't making polite conversation. He's studying her. He's measuring her response. Daisy answers exactly as she has been trained, saying she came to serve God's will. But then she quietly adds, "There was nothing left for me." That final sentence is the truth hidden beneath the disguise. Daisy isn't in Gilead because she believes in its ideals. She's there because her old life was stolen from her. The episode ends by bringing all of these threads together through one seemingly ordinary object, a map. When Daisy secretly hands Garth a map of the school, It confirms that she has fully committed herself to Mayday's mission. She's no longer just surviving inside Gilead, she's actively working against it. But what makes the moment so powerful is what she says next. Her only condition is that the girls must not get hurt. That single request tells us everything about the person Daisy is becoming. Unlike many characters trapped in this endless cycle of revenge, Daisy refuses to believe victory requires sacrificing innocent people. Looking back, Episode 3 isn't simply about revealing Daisy's past. It's about revealing the kind of leader she could become. The show quietly confirms that while Gilead is built on fear, Mayday's greatest weapon may be someone who still believes compassion can survive inside a world designed to destroy it.